A few years back, if I told you that you could get a Harley-Davidson right from the factory floor in under 2.5 lakhs, you would have probably laughed me out of the room. But times have changed now. It's an exciting time to be a motorcycle enthusiast because we have this, the result of the Hero Harley partnership, the Harley-Davidson X440. This is the first ever made in India, made for India Harley-Davidson, which will eventually be exported for the rest of the world as well. And as I said in the start, this is the most affordable Harley-Davidson you can get your hands on. And today I'm going to be riding it after finally seeing so many press shots. We finally have it in the flesh, and I'm going to be telling you if this does have that quintessential Harley-Davidson DNA. But I also want to know what you think. So do let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this X440. Like this video if you like it, share it with like-minded enthusiasts, and click on that bell icon to stay notified for all things thrill of riding. Let's start with the design of this bike, because design is one of the major reasons anyone will be drawn to buying a motorcycle. And to that end, the Harley-Davidson X440 is a bit polarizing. There may be some who love it, there are some who don't. I am not completely sold. The front end is made up of a circular LED light that sits on top of an 18-inch wheel with a metal fender. In fact, most of the body panels on the X440 are made using metal. Above the headlight is a 3.5-inch TFT screen that sits in a circular pod that makes up the instrument cluster. The screen is bright and it packs a lot of functionality across variants. You get Bluetooth-enabled features that allow you to pair your phone and control various functions like calls, music, notifications, and even turn-by-turn navigation. The top-end S variant, it also gets an eSIM that enables location-based safety features as well. Behind the instrument cluster is a wide and flat handlebar, and just beneath that is a large muscular 13.5-litre fuel tank. The seat is made up of single-piece unit, and Harley-Davidson claims that it is the longest in segment. The rear end of the bike is where things don't feel so cohesive in my opinion. It looks very boxy, and the exhaust could have benefited from a slightly different design. The rear wheel is a 17-inch unit and it wears a 140 section tire. Now, design is subjective and you may like what I don't, but one thing that definitely needs to improve is the fit and finish levels. Now let's talk about the meat of the matter, the heart of the matter, this 440cc single-cylinder engine. It's a single-cylinder engine with a 2-valve head, and it is air oil cooled. Now the reason it's such a simple engine is because Harley said they want to keep it simple and true to its roots. So which is why you have this air-cooled unit. Now this engine is good for 27 bhp and 38 Nm of torque. Those are class-leading figures, and when you ride it, the bike certainly does feel that way. It accelerates with vigor. There's a lot of torque all around the rev bands. It's very tractable. You can keep it in sixth and ride from as low as 40-50 km/h all the way to top speed. Speaking of top speed, I saw around 130 on the dash before I had to slow down again, which is fairly good, and the straight was not all that long, so you can get more out of it. Now, in terms of tractability and riding on the highway, you can comfortably sit at 120 km/h all day long, and at this point your bike in the engine is around between 4 and 5,000 RPM. This is where it's the most relaxed. There are no vibes, so it's a very stress-free, comfortable riding experience, and 120 is more than you'll ever need on Indian highways. So in that end, this does feel like a true Harley. Now in terms of that engine, Harley said one thing that was extremely crucial during the development phase was to get the exhaust note correct. Harleys are known for their big rumbly V-twins and that potato sound that they make from their exhaust. So this is a single, and unfortunately it's not going to sound like a V-twin, but it does have a nice character of its own. Why don't you listen and tell me what you think about it? It's raspy, it's nice, and it has character. That's important, and I like it. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now in terms of the gearbox, you have a 6-speed gearbox mated to a slip and assist clutch. That translates to a very light clutch pull and a very positive feeling gearbox. It's slick, it's tactile, and I didn't really miss any shifts or face any false neutrals. So overall that experience was also very good, and that will go a long way in making the ride stress-free, along with the ergonomics being the way it is and the engine being set up the way it is. In terms of handling, we had a go at the handling track at CIT, and this bike was really fun. It's agile, it's quick to turn direction, and it's really stable and it holds the line rather well. Now, it's not the sharpest bike out there, and Harley says that that is by design because they wanted something that will handle everything, but it also does feel comfortable and predictable, and that's exactly what this bike is. It goes around the corner like you want it to, but at the same time you feel relaxed when you're doing it. In terms of lean angles, you can't get to a lot of lean angle before you start scraping the foot pegs, but you do have a lot of fun doing it. In fact, on the bike that I was riding, I pretty much took the entire pegs feeler off. That's how much fun I had riding this bike. The suspension, it really worked well in the handling track, and I'm hoping that it'll work really well on the roads as well. Now, in terms of braking, you have a 320mm disc up front and a 240mm disc at the rear, both aided by dual channel ABS. This is standard across all variants, so that's a good thing. Now, the ABS is calibrated rather well, and not once did it intrude no matter what I was doing. Although I would say that the brakes could stand to be a little sharper in their initial bite. Now, Harley did tell us that they didn't want the brakes to be too sharp and they wanted to be a bit more progressive, but in an attempt to do that, I feel like it loses out on a bit of that initial bite that you want. Especially in an emergency situation, I would appreciate if this bike had a little sharper initial bite. But apart from that, this rides pretty well. It's fun to thrash around a track like the CIT handling track that they had, and overall it's a pretty nimble bike. Now, despite weighing 190 kilos with a full tank of gas, this bike masks its weight rather well, and this 805mm seat height, as you can see my leg has a nice fold, is very comfortable, and it should be pretty accommodating for riders of all shapes and sizes. Now, talking about the ergonomic setup, it's a pretty comfortable setup. Now, unlike other Harleys, your legs are not up here like a cruiser. They're a little under your hips. They're not fully all the way back either. So this is comfortable enough for commuting daily. You won't get really tired or sore. But at the same time, when you do want to have a good time in the twisties, this riding position will enable that. As for your upper body, you're nice and straight and you're reaching out to a nice wide flat handlebar, again aiding comfort for long distance riding. How this actually does handle long distances is another thing we will tell you in our road test review. But my initial impressions of this bike are solid. Now let's talk prices. Rupees 2.29 lakh ex-showroom is what you have to pay to get into the Harley-Davidson doors with the denim variant that gets spoked wheels. Then you have the mid-tier variant which gets alloy wheels, and that costs rupees 2.49 lakh ex-showroom. This top-end S variant that we are riding, which gets connectivity, diamond cut alloys and this matte color scheme, costs rupees 2.69 lakh ex-showroom. Rupees 2.69 lakh ex-showroom to pay for a factory fresh Harley. What a time to be alive. Now, as far as it's concerned that Hero has developed this bike, they've done a great job of capturing that Harley essence. This does sit at 120 kilometers per hour all day. You can do that comfortably. It's relatively vibe free. You're sitting comfortably in a commanding riding position, and you just generally feel that sense of the fact that this is a Harley-Davidson. So good job Hero for doing that. That being said, there are a few things that need to be worked on. The build quality needs to get better before this bike starts getting delivered. There are a lot of things that look unfinished. Yeah, as far as this review is concerned, this isn't a comprehensive review because we've ridden it for a very short duration at the Hero CIT plant, and the roads here are really good. So I can't really tell how the suspension will be in the real world. So that is something we're going to be addressing in our comprehensive first ride review once we get the bike back home. Apart from that, what I'm really excited to find out is how this stacks up against this competition, especially the Royal Enfield Classic 350, the Meteor 350 and the upcoming Bajaj Triumph bikes. Now this is priced really aggressively, but it will still have a lot to do to dethrone that Royal Enfield Classic 350. So do you think it'll be able to do that? Let us know in the comment section down below, and also let us know what you think about this Harley-Davidson X440.